In this video, we're going to take a look at the payment function. Payment function is used for two different types of problems in Excel. One is to find the payment amount on a loan. The other one, which is what we're going to be doing in this example, is figuring out how much you have to save on a regular basis, usually monthly, to reach a particular savings goal. Okay, so here is our sample problem. We want to determine how much we'll have to save monthly, so that means we're going to have 12 payments per year. If we start with $10,000 and the money's invested at an annual rate of 8% for 20 years, our goal is $100,000 and we'll make deposits at the beginning of the month. Okay, so we are trying to find the payment again, so let's gray that out. And we start with 10,000, so that is our present value, so let's go up here and put in 10,000. We have an annual interest rate of 8%. We're doing it for 20 years, and we are doing monthly payments. We're going to do 12 per year. And as soon as I do the 8% and the periods per year, it can compute the rate per period, the monthly rate. And as soon as I do the years and the periods per year, it can compute the number of periods, which is 240. Okay, and our ending balance, our goal is 100,000. And the last thing is, what type is this? Are we making a deposit at the beginning or the end of the month? And we're making it at the beginning, which means we need to put a 1 down here instead of the 0 that's there right now. Okay, so let's go over here to where we're going to put our answer. And this is the payment function again. So let's go to our formulas tab and go to the financial group and scroll down to the letter P, and we want PMT. Okay, so here's our arguments dialog box, and the rate, remember, is always the rate per period. It's not the annual rate. So click on the rate per period down here and tab. And the number of periods is the 240 here in C9. Click on C9 and tab, and the present value. Now this is the only difference between using the payment function for a loan and using the payment function to determine a savings goal. Remember that the payment is always a negative number in every one of these problems, and the present value in a savings problem is basically the equivalent of a bunch of payments that we have already made that add up to $10,000. So if this is the sum of a bunch of payments and the payments are negative, then the sum of a bunch of negative numbers is also going to be negative. So we must put a minus sign in front of this, and then we can click on the present value over here. The future value is going to be the 100,000. Click on C7, and the type is going to be what's here in C10. And the values are showing up over here, and the result is $85 down here, and click on OK. And it looks like we have to spend, or save rather, $85.56 every month in order to reach that goal. Now, payment is always a negative number, so it's going to show up here as red or with parentheses around it, or possibly with a minus sign in front of it. Excel in these problems appears to always make them red and put parentheses around them. So to get rid of that, we need to put a minus sign in front of it if you want it to show up as a positive number. And so put a minus sign in front of it, and our payment is $85.56. Okay, now is that a reasonable number? It's kind of hard to tell with the numbers that we have here, so let's try something a little bit simpler. Let's go over here and put in 10%. 10% is easy to compute in your head. Let's do this for 1 year, 12 times a year. And let's start off with a balance of 0, so we're not going to be earning any interest on an accumulated balance. And then let's say that our goal is $1,000 and hit enter. And so if you divide 1,000 by 12, you'll get about $83. But we're going to be earning some interest on it, so the number should be a little bit less than $83 since it's only for a period of 1 year. That interest is not going to have a chance to compound a whole lot. So this is probably a correct answer. It's a reasonable number anyway. So you can probably figure out that you did it right as a result of this. But That's kind of a good way to check, is go back and use some very simple numbers. We did not want to put a number other than 0 in here, because then you're earning interest on the original balance, and that's a little bit harder to compute in your head. So it's probably best to start off with a number 0 there. So that's kind of a good way to check and make sure that you've done that your numbers are reasonable.